the show. Welcome to the Comedy Store tonight. So glad to have you with us. We've got two great guests, and we're going to start off with the news right now. I'm just glad we're all alive and well here in Southern California because the heat wave is unbearable. It is so hot in Southern California right now that people in East Los Angeles are answering the doors hoping it's ice. Meanwhile, along this line, the Department of Water and Power has advised customers to turn their thermostats down to 80 degrees. Or even better, give up on their dreams and move back to the Midwest. Get this, folks, Stormy Daniels is getting divorced. You can't make it up. She's asked us to respect her privacy. Her husband could handle her being a porn star and a stripper, but he can't show his face in Santa Monica ever since it came out that she slept with a Republican. Meanwhile, folks, in Missouri, 17 people died in a tragic duck boat accident. What idiots. They should have used a boat designed for humans. Now, folks, out here in La La Land, the Brady Bunch house. Remember the Brady Bunch? Well, that house is now on sale on the market for $1.8 million. But realtors may have a tough time selling this home because it's rumored to be haunted by a ghost with AIDS. Another historical home met its fate this week. Another historical home met its fate. You remember Good Times? Well, the Good Times project was brought down today with dynamite! Big news from Mexico City. Did you hear the new ruling government of Mexico is now considering legalizing all drugs in Mexico? That's pot, cocaine, heroin, meth, ecstasy. Trump's going to need to build a wall just to keep all the Californians in. On Capitol Hill in Washington today, Democrats and Republicans together have written a bipartisan bill to legalize marijuana for arthritis sufferers. You got that? There's joint support for joint support for joint support. Meanwhile, folks, studies show that men who wear neckties have less blood flow to the brain, giving them a 30% stronger chance of having a stroke, especially when you tie the other end to a doorknob. Oh, this was my favorite. Artificial intelligence, folks, is the talk of the country right now, and nobody knows where it's going to lead. All I can say is that on the day that the machines rise up against the humans, I hope I'm nowhere near the dildo factory at Melrose and Western. Finally today, Demi Lovato overdosed on heroin this morning. Who's Demi Lovato?
Almost no one.
Here's what we got for you. I mean, we've got our first show with two very close comedy friends of mine, and we are off and rolling on this series. I want to welcome you. We've got Sam Tripoli, Shawn Pelofsky. I love them both. We got a great show for you. Stay tuned. Thank you. I'm Argus Hamilton. Welcome to the show. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Comedy Store tonight. I'm Argus Hamilton, your host, and I'm telling you, this is our first show of the 3 we've shot so far, where I have 2 really good comedy friends on the show tonight. And I start off with a guy who is a comics comic, one of Mitzi's last developed comics, and he's just a big star all over the circuit, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Sam Tripoli.
Hello! Hello, Internet people. Argus, great monologue,
Thank you,
dude.
Sam.
I did not see any of that coming. It was wonderful.
Well, thank you, pal. You have a podcast. Tell me about yours.
I have 2 podcasts. I have one called Punch Drunk Sports, and the other one's called Tinfoil Hat with Sam Tripoli. It's a conspiracy podcast.
Now, I've heard Punch Drunk Sports. It has a tremendous following.
Yes, a lot of weird people.
Explain what goes on in that.
It's basically myself, Ari Shafir, Jason Tebow, and we just talk sports. A lot of homoerotica and just a lot of hurt feelings as well. So it's like, it's your typical sports show, you know?
And the other one?
Tinfoil Hat, man. We go into conspiracies and all the weirdness, and it's a wonderful time to be alive. You know, we get into paranormal, we get into mediums, we get into all sorts of stuff. I've learned so much. It's only about a year old, and it's like.
Do you get true believers as your guests?
Yeah, I get everybody. I mean, we get everybody. I mean, Scientologists love us. Weird fucking
So you're trying to get
sex
into the
cult
movies.
people. Right, yeah. Yeah, you know, the big thing about the sex cult just came because you got to, in Hollywood, if you got to make it, you got to join one of a couple groups. You got to either be the gay mafia, Jewish, Scientologist, AA, or sex cult.
Yeah.
And if you're in all of them, your name is Tom Cruise. Am I right? Yeah, so it's a wonderful time to be alive.
Great. So you developed here at the Comedy Store.
Yes, I was very lucky. It's a funny story. Duncan Trussell and Maz Jobrani are 2 of my favorite people in the world. Yeah. And Duncan was the booker at the time, and Maz had just gotten in. And I got a call from Maz going, hey, I think I can get you at the Comedy Store. Mitzi wanted to put together an Arab night. And he goes, so you're Arab? I go, I'm Armenian. He goes, close enough, right? So, and
wars have been fought over the difference.
100%, dude. And I do this charity event for Armenians. It's like, because we have a very unique genetic makeup, and basically we're the hillbillies of Eastern Europe, like, because we only breed with ourselves, right? We're trailer park people of that area. And so I get a call, and Duncan's like, okay, I can get you in. You're Armenian, it's close enough. And he told me the jokes to do. He goes, do one joke about your ethnic group, do one joke about your parents, and then do your favorite bits. Yeah. So I did a joke about my being Armenian, going to the beach, power walking, and then I did this bit about Asians on ecstasy that Joey Diaz loved. Yeah. So I just did it.
What was your first joke to Mitzi?
The first joke I did about how my mom. It was basically a power walking bit. It was an awful, awful bit, and just for some reason people loved it. And I remember getting off stage, and I walked up to Mitzi, and I'm like, thank you so much for letting me showcase. And here's another thing people didn't know. When you showcase, you could get your showcase hijacked. People wanted to sit next to Mitzi. You remember that? They'd sit next to Mitzi,
that's right.
And they would talk to her, and she could listen to you because they were trying to get spots. Well, I just saw Paul Mooney sit down, and I was like, fuck, right? Well, it turned out he liked me, and he's actually telling her that I was really funny. Because it was very.
Paul would sit there and go,
So before there was a show Dublin's, and before everything else, there was a show at the Hustler Cafe ran by a guy named Johnny Montana, who did like tons of cocaine, right? Yeah. And I was doing a joke about how it was hard to be a white guy in America. And Paul Mooney came up to me, he goes, oh, homie, you ain't white. Use Armenian, and he drops a hard N-word on me, right, with the R. And it was like this weird kind of moment where it was like, he just called me the N-word, and it was kind of cool because he kind of copyrighted the word N-word.
That was his way of knighting you.
Yeah, right? So it was kind of cool. So he had told Mitzi that I was really funny. So I walked up to Mitzi, and I was like, hey, thanks for the spot. She goes, are you Syrian? And I didn't know what Syrian was at that time. I was like, I went to public school upstate, but I was Syrian at that moment. I'm like, yeah, I'm totally fucking Syrian, right? So she's like, okay, you're funny. I want you to go up in the show the next night. And it was Jay Davis's rock and roll show. And this is how cool Maz Jobrani is. He got me, Ahmed, and Aaron Cater guest spots. And he was supposed to go up after Aaron, but he hid so Brett Ernst could go up. And Brett Ernst showcased, and we all got picked up on that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
Wonderful.
So here's the funny thing. And then, this is a long story, I'm sorry, but
No, it's all right.
I get a call. She wants your first spot to be a main room spot, which she'd only done with me and Roseanne.
Right.
So I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I show up. At the time, there was a comic who used to go up here named Charles Fleischer.
Oh.
And I didn't know who he was. And he was
Uh-oh.
doing like an hour, and I didn't know what it was. And I went up, and I bombed for 15 minutes. And that's my favorite thing, is to watch a comic do his first regular spot at the Comedy Store, because it's like they put so much pressure on themselves, and I could just watch them bomb for 15 minutes because they're overthinking it. I bombed for 15 minutes, and I was like, well, so much for ever being in this club. I got a call, and they're going like, she wants you to go up again. And that's why I knew this club was different than any other club, because she allowed you to fail, which was very cool. And you never got
and
that.
she was an untreated Al-Anon.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Chance.
Oh, man, I could tell you so many crazy stories of me being Freddie Soto and me in the back of the main room on New Year's. He's like, you're doing really well. You got together. Shit face. Walked out, and I was so drunk, I walked 300 people in the main room on a New Year's, and I was banned for 2 days.
That'll teach you.
Yeah, and she always brought you back, man.
Well, don't I know?
Yeah. The stories we have.
You and I are fraternity brothers.
Yes, man, we both are Alpha Tau Omega.
That's right. You went to where?
UNLV.
UNLV.
Yeah, man.
University of Oklahoma.
It was a wonderful time. I was very blessed. ATO was my first interaction with crystal meth. It was really funny.
It was finals week. We had to study.
Well, it was like the first wave of like this crystal meth that we knew what it was. And we lived in this beat up house, man. It was so beat up. And we're like, we got to fix this house. The roof's broken. And this guy named Tiny, and you know, if they're called Tiny, they're not tiny, right? And we didn't know Tiny was doing crystal meth at the time. We didn't know this.
Must have been cut with butter.
and he was like, oh, I can fix the roof. I'm a carpenter. I can totally fix the roof. I'll riff and I'll put it back on. And we're like, okay, that's a great idea. So he came, he ripped the roof off, and we never saw Tiny again. I lived in a convertible for the rest of my life, for the rest of my time there.
Well, Vegas is a tough enough place, you know, for fraternity or college kids to go to when they have little money. What's it going to be like when the Raiders go there with serious cash?
I think it's going to be wonderful. Yeah. I'm so excited. The town is a wonderful town. Yeah. It's shady. I mean, like, I love desert people, man. Yeah. You go to Vegas or Phoenix, it's like there's a certain level of just desert people. They look like beef jerky. Nobody's got teeth. There's like blocks of gummies, just gummy bears. Nobody's got teeth. And it's really nice until you get to certain areas. You know, like the Stratosphere is a wonderful hotel.
Well, you sell out like at Scottsdale and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, I've been playing out there for a while. You know, I've been doing this new podcast called Tinfoil Hat, and, you know, we've been getting all these kind of fun, crazy.
You mean they come into the clubs, all these true believers?
Yeah.
What kind of comedy crowd are they?
Believe it or not, Mexican. It's really fucking weird, man. Mexican metal guys. It's so weird. I love Mexican chicks, too. They're the only ones at heavy metal concerts anymore. So it's like they just love they're into metal. And it's so weird when you see a Mexican in a Morrissey. It's a weird fucking thing. And they just come and they love it, man. It's such a blessing, man.
So this year, you're going to get your podcast rolling. You're going on the road in August.
Going on the road in August. I shot my special at the Viper Room down the street. Yeah, I packed it out, shot that, so I'm waiting to hear that, and then we'll see where it goes.
What kind of crowd did you draw at the Viper Room?
I was very blessed. I go like I don't like when somebody who isn't a theater comic does a theater show, and you're like, that's not you. So I always thought you should do what you're at, and I always like playing rock clubs. So I thought, what's the best like name brand I can get that isn't a huge club? And it's the Viper Room, and no one's ever recorded a special there. No one's ever recorded an album there. No. So I'm like, fuck it. And like, you know, I had a birthday when I was 10, and like 4 people showed up. So since then, I've always had that fear that no one's going to show up.
Well, real quick, before we go, I got to plug this one thing.
Yeah.
You do one of the most unique shows in all of show business. It reminds me of Zamuda, a little bit of that group, the Naughty Show.
Yeah.
That is sensational.
Yeah, it's porn stars and comedy.
On the main room stage. And so
Yeah.
when our viewers get a chance in Los Angeles to go to the Naughty Show with Sam Tripoli, it is something else.
It's great.
You feel like it's another time, another era.
If you want to watch porn stars deep throat dongs while they do cold work, this is the show for you.
It's called prop comedy. So here's what we do.
Pop comics.
Here's what we do. We get Sam back as soon as we can because he's a terrific guest, and I love you, and I want to welcome you to the show. So glad to have you with us.
It was great to be here.
Great to see you, buddy.
Thank you, dude. Thank you.
Sam Tripoli, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Tripoli. Welcome back to the Comedy Store tonight. It is a privilege for me to bring to you our next performer. I have worked with her for a long time in the Comedy Store main room where she just knocks them dead. She's from my hometown in Oklahoma City, and she's all yours, ladies and gentlemen, the hilarious Shawn Pelofsky.
Thank you. Hi, y'all. Okies forever.
That's right. Yeah, your father was a very prominent doctor in Oklahoma City.
He is.
And he's partners with a guy who was like a big brother to me.
Yeah.
Growing up.
He was in your fraternity, right?
No, Stephen was a Delt. I was an ATO. But,
oh, okay. Yeah. My father is a world-renowned neurosurgeon, so I am a complete disappointment. You're welcome, everybody.
They love you. I know that. Tell me what you're up to right now.
Right now, I'm just out traveling. I was producing and writing on a show called Funny You Should Ask.
Yeah.
And it's like a game show that's 5 nights a week, kind of like a Hollywood Squares, but with a panel of all comedians. And so we're on hiatus for that right now. And now I'm just getting ready to go out there and promote my new 1-hour comedy special that's coming out August 21st.
Oh,
thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Blood, sweat, and tears, Argus.
Have you shot it yet?
Yeah, I shot it downtown LA in the East West Players Theater. It held about I'm opposite of Sam Tripoli. Mine had about 600 people. We did 2 shows. And
wow.
Yeah, I mean, they were mostly gay, so that's how it works.
Yeah.
You know? all homosexuals.
Well, now that Kathy is out of the picture, you can move right in and take that niche.
Please, yeah, it's time. It's time for someone new to come in and somebody funny.
Because Kathy owned that segment, and she got her own. What's the network that has all the gays on it?
Oh, Bravo.
Bravo. She was the queen of Bravo.
You mean Fox Sports or?
No, but
that was late.
You're able to take her place now.
Yeah. I mean, well, they say, you know, I believe was it Samantha who said this in Sex and the City? Like, first come the teenagers, then come the gays, and then comes everybody else. So when they kind of put their eye on you, gay men, that's it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's only uphill from there.
They're hip. They know everything that's going on, and they get the joke halfway out of your mouth.
Yeah, and they got a lot of things in their mouth, but they have disposable income, and they are loyal like no other fan.
And talk about a 180-degree spectrum. I remember right after Mitzi made you a regular in about the year 2000, and 2001 hit, 9/11 came, and you were out there entertaining the troops. Yeah,
more ways than one, Marcus. More ways. I was a single lady at the time, but it's hard to meet the right man in LA, so I had to go where the odds were going to work for me. But I went to Bosnia, Kosovo. I went to Afghanistan a couple of times, and Guantanamo Bay. In Guantanamo Bay, we were performing one night. And I remember they said, Shawn, we want to take you into the prisons and show you where we keep the detainees. And I thought, that's not a good idea. Look at this face. Like, I'm female, I'm Jewish, I'm American. They would love to pull a black bag over my head and then be like, we did it, we got Barbara Streisand, you know. It's just, and then it would just be over for me. So yeah,
the conservatives would name a holiday after you.
Something's going to work after like 18 years in this business. If I could get a holiday, that would be great.
Well, I remember you coming back from that. You would come back to the main room just loaded with new material and energy from your travels. Yeah, well, I mean, at one point in Afghanistan, I remember the first base we went to, the Special Forces took the other comic and myself in, and they said, oh, would you like to shoot some things? And I was like, what? Shoot some things? Okay. So they're kind of show-offy because they never had any comedians at their base because they were kind of at this base on the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan. Oh, yeah, sweet little place. Yeah, it was I'm sure my Jewish parents were just so happy I was there. But I literally, we went up to the top of the roof of this compound with the Special Forces. They had like this 60 cal missile, and they shot it up, shot it out, showed me how to do it. It was really cold outside. It was during the winter time. And so I guess, I thought I had watched correctly, and it was so cold when I went to pull the lever, which you're just supposed to pull this little gun lever back. What I did is I pulled the whole missile straight up. And just as I was about to pull it, like 25 Special Forces were like, she's gonna kill us! And they all jumped on me and saved me from, excuse. And they saved me from pulling the missile, and it was all just a trick. Very erotic. But, that's true. No, I'm hearing that. It was and I like them big, but size queen. But that's a whole different. I mean, it was crazy though, and I thought to myself, thank God I did not kill all those brave men. And you're on the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan, and as it turns out, you're like 25 miles from bin Laden in his house. I'm sure. I just knew that if the chance was to happen, if we were mortared or something was to happen on the base, I was never going to be that person who was going to get up and run. I'm a total puss. I would just I would just piss myself and die. Like, I'm a victim's victim. So I just knew that it's like, if it was going to happen, it was going to happen. But as far as the audiences go, Bob Hope, I've read 3 or 4 of his books, and he just swore that servicemen are the best audience he's ever had. They are. It's really a hard draw. Is it gay men who you can say anything and everything in front of, or is it the military? And really, it's a really tough call because the military, they were so supportive, so happy. But it was early in your career, and you didn't know all the gay jokes yet. Oh, I knew them. I just didn't really say them there. When you were over there at the time when I went, you were not allowed to make jokes about the president, and you were not allowed to. I mean, it was a don't ask, don't tell policy at the time. So. That's changed on late night television now. Yeah, I know, but it's, I think when you get overseas, you have free reign. So it's like, if I have a 5-star general, in my view, he's game to me, and the boys, they love that. The men and women, they love when you can take out like the highest official. Well, I would see you, as we perform together over the years, just destroy crowds night after night in the main room.
Oh,
and at
that's
some
nice.
point, you made room in your life for a personal life, and now you're,
No, imagine that for a
you're
comedian,
happily
huh?
married. Yeah, because usually we're married to the audience. And how were you able to make room for a wonderful guy who's always backstage supporting you? He's
Yeah.
a great husband you've married.
Well, yeah. Well, he's Brazilian. Again, you're welcome. And I married the World Cup if they didn't lose all the time. But you know, I think the equation was finding someone who was foreign. I think American guys didn't get me and were a little bit afraid. And something about him is he really enjoyed comedy, and we're like a yin and yang.
He sits backstage and he applauds, he laughs. It's like he's heard the joke for the first
he's
time.
been taught well. I mean, if he wants anything to happen, you know, he's got to like you never heard it before, baby. Like you never heard it before.
Oh, Shawn. So what's coming up next for you?
Right now, just the special is coming out, and I'm traveling, going to Boise. I'm working gay cruises, all men on boats and nut
What's
huggers.
a gay cruise like?
Oh well, it's really. I think the only thing gayer would be Liberace figure skating, sucking cock. Like that is the gayest. It's very gay. A bunch of just men having the time
In a
of their
minor key,
life.
maybe?
Yeah. On the high seas, and we go to the Mediterranean, and everybody can just be themselves, and there is no judgment. I mean,
Right.
there's a little bit. They're gay, you know. There's a little cattiness.
Yeah. Who looks best and why?
That's exactly. It's a lot of fun.
And how many shows do you do on those?
I usually do 3.
Yeah. And to the different crowds or the same crowd?
Different crowds, but then the same guys. Sometimes they'll come all 3 times.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's why you got to be on your game, because you can work off.
You work, you know, for a lot of times I thought you were going to go the Toady Fields, Don Rickles route and simply be a tremendous crowd worker.
Yeah.
But you buttress it with solid material.
I try, you know. I think as time goes by, I get a little bit bored with myself.
Yeah.
So I do. My specialty here at the Comedy Store is opening the shows, is working the audience, is working off my feet.
Yeah.
And really, and just because I've traveled the world and been in front of all types of people, it's just kind of fun to just kind of rip on people and take each person in the crowd and then bring everyone together in 15 minutes and be like, welcome to the world famous Comedy Store. Now we got a show.
Yeah, that's right. Well, listen, I can't wait to have you on again. And I'm so honored. You're on my first show with actual friends on it. And it's
The rest of your enemies?
Fantastic. No, you know, we've had young comics have broken it in now. And now we've got peers of mine. So
Well, you're one of the best, Argus, and it's a pleasure to be here.
I love it.
Go Sooners.
Go Big Red. And we got Shawn Pelofsky. We're going to have her back as soon as we can. Welcome, folks, to this show. This is a great show tonight. I'm so glad you headlined for us, Shawn. Shawn Pelofsky, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so our thanks to Sam Tripoli and, of course, to Shawn and to our tremendous staff of writers and producers and directors and lighting people here. We've got a great new show working for you. I want you all to spread the word. Spread this streamcast to all your friends on social network and help us get this ball rolling. I'm Argus Hamilton, and I'll be here for you next Tuesday. Stay with us. Good night.